we have sung this most beautiful prayer by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. In the land of Nadia, on the island of Godrum, the magnanimous Lord Nityananda has opened up the marketplace of the holy name, meant for the deliverance of all fallen souls. O men of faith, O men of faith, by the order of Lord Gauranga, O brothers, I beg this one request: chant Krishna, worship Krishna, and follow Krishna's instructions, being careful to remain free of offenses. Just take the holy name of Krishna. Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your father, and Krishna is the treasure of your life. Giving up all improper behavior, carry on your worldly duties only in relation to Krishna. The showing of compassion to all fallen souls while loudly chanting the holy name of Krishna is the essence of all forms of religion. To understand the compassion of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, nobody could hear because the sound is not loud enough. Hare Krishna. Can you hear? We haven't used this temple hall for so long that he has forgot how to use the sound system. You can still hear? Why didn't you do that at the beginning? Huh? Practicing. He's practicing. He wants everyone to know that he's not the controller. In Sri Navadvip, Lord Chaitanya gave Lord Nityananda these instructions. That whoever you meet, without discrimination of who they are, what they've done, what they're doing, where they've been, everyone is a pure spirit soul. In everyone's heart, love of Krishna is dwelling. It simply has to be awakened. Tell them this. Simply chant Hare Krishna. Worship Krishna. Hear about Krishna and talk about Krishna. Krishna is your mother. Krishna is your father. Krishna is the treasure of your life. If one simply takes these simple instructions to heart, they will achieve perfection. Whether they're great Vedic scholars or simple street sweepers, whether they are pious, magnanimous givers of charity, or whether they are criminals who have simply exploited and caused harm to others, whether they're rich or they're poor, whether they're of any caste or any nationality or any race. This is the sure method of awakening Krishna's love. To simply have faith that Krishna is my mother, Krishna is my father, Krishna is my real wealth, Krishna is a treasure of my life, my very life and soul. To simply convince people of this, and then to chant the names of Krishna, to worship Krishna, and to speak about Krishna. Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Haridas Thakur, and many of the other associates of Lord Chaitanya took this message as their life and soul. Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had the closest, most loving, intimate relationship. We know Brajendra Nandana Jai, Sachi Shuta Hoilo Se, Balaram Hoilo Nitai, that Lord Krishna, the son of Nanda, appeared as Lord Chaitanya, and Balaram appeared as Lord Nityananda. Inseparable brothers. Nityananda Prabhu, after appearing in Ekachakra, understood his mission. It was to help Lord Chaitanya promote this Nam Sankirtan movement. When he was only 12 years old, he arranged a sannyasi to take him away from his mother, his father, all of his loving family and friends, and go on pilgrimage. He went on this pilgrimage about 20 years. All the while, from the moment of his birth, he was simply living in separation of Krishna or Lord Chaitanya. He would not even preach to anyone until he received the order from Lord Chaitanya to do so. And when he understood the Lord was calling for him from within his heart, he had just returned from Gaya. He began preaching Krishna Prema through Krishna Nam. Lord Nityananda Prabhu immediately, he left Vrindavan. At the time he was living at Shringarbat on the bank of Yamuna in Sri Vrindavan Dham, playing in the waters of Yamuna River with the cowherd boys and the cows, completely absorbed in his Leela of Lord Balaram. But as soon as he understood that Lord Chaitanya was waiting for him, he left Vrindavan, went to Navadvip. He met the Lord at the house of Nandanacharya, and from that day became constant associates. They were inseparable. So inseparable was Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya that Sachi Mata considered both of them her own sons. When that famous Nam Sankirtan was being performed in procession to the house of Chand Kazi, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu divided his closest associates. Advaitacharya was dancing in one party of kirtan. Srivas Pandit was in another party of kirtan. But he looked at Lord Nityananda, and he understood Lord Nityananda Prabhu's heart. Even if the kirtan is just ahead or behind, he could not survive being separated from Lord Chaitanya. He said, Nitai, you will stay with me. I know that you cannot be separated from me. So through the whole procession, Gaur Nitai danced together, inseparable. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was to take sannyas, first person he told was Nityananda Prabhu. And it was Nityananda Prabhu with just 4 others that went with Lord Chaitanya, because the Lord understood Nityananda Prabhu will not survive separate from me. They went to Puri together. When Lord Chaitanya decided to go on his South Indian tour, Nityananda Prabhu was the first to volunteer. I will go with you. I will be your servant. Lord Chaitanya said, how can I take you? I need a servant, someone who will obey me. I asked you to hold my danda while I bathed. After I went to see Kapoteshwar Mahadev, I was going to bathe in the Mahanadi river, and you broke my danda in 3 pieces and threw it in the river. What kind of servant is this? This was Nityananda Prabhu's love. He understood that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What does he have to utilize these varnashram principles to get respect as a sannyasi? Does the Lord need to take sannyas to get respect? And besides that, he took ekadanda sannyas, just so that people would recognize him, which is the line that believes that God and the living entity are one in the liberated state. But a Vaishnava believes that the living entity is always the servant of the Lord and serves with body, mind, and soul, therefore carries 3 dandas, so he broke the danda in 3. Made it Vaishnava danda. But knowing the Lord would not be happy, he put it in the river. Hare Krishna. And Paramhamsa is beyond sannyas. The Lord is beyond. What to speak of Nityananda? Why is the Lord renouncing the goddess of fortune, Vishnu Priya? Why is the Lord renounced Sachi Devi, his beloved mother, Yashoda? He didn't like this sannyas. It was an expression of his ecstatic love. And the Lord knew this, and was very happy within his heart. But still, to show the world that people must live by their particular varnas and ashrams carefully, seeking the essence of pure love, he chastised Nityananda. I will not go with you. So Nityananda Prabhu for 2 years remained in Puri, daily waiting for Lord Chaitanya's return. He followed him up to Alalanath. There Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed Nam Sankirtan, and thousands and thousands of people from all the local villages came and danced and chanted, and the Lord gave them all ecstatic love. Nityananda Prabhu was so happy. It was at that time that he prophesied. Seeing Lord Chaitanya's effect on the masses through this Nam Kirtan, he proclaimed, in every town and village, my Lord, your name will be chanted. And through that compassionate vision of Lord Nityananda Prabhu was carefully preserved through parampara. And under the order of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada was dispatched from the land of Vrindavan to fulfill that prophecy by bringing the chanting of Krishna's holy names to all the continents on earth. In that spirit of Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada had faith that everyone has love of God within their hearts. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunoi Sravanadi Sudhijete Kodiyayudoi. It wasn't just a verse that he memorized. It was his realization, his conviction, his complete faith that Krishna Prema is within the heart of every living being because it is the nature of the soul. And simply by chanting Krishna's names and associating with Krishna's devotees, this prema or love is awakened. With that faith in the holy name and the order of his guru, Prabhupada traveled around the world 13 times, beginning with nothing and no one, and was the instrument of the Lord to fulfill that prophecy. So Nityananda Prabhu was waiting 1 year, 2 years. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself expresses the nature of love and separation. Yugayatam nimeshena chakshusha pravrashayatam sunyayatam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me. Feeling your separation, my Lord, a moment is appearing like 12 years or more. A moment seems like a yuga. And without your sight, the whole universal creation is a dreary void. This was Nityananda Prabhu's feelings of separation, waiting for the Lord to come so that they could dance together once again, take prasad together, speak about Krishna together, everything together. The Lord returned. But after some time, Lord Chaitanya gave Lord Nityananda another instruction. You are here in Jagannath Puri with me, enjoying very nicely, but there are so many conditioned souls suffering under the illusion of Maya without Krishna in Bengal. You should go and preach. Same message. Bolo Krishna, Bajo Krishna, Koro Krishna, Siksha, Krishna Matta, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dana Pran. Nityananda Prabhu took that instruction with enthusiasm as the very oceanic embodiment of compassion. He spent the rest of his days in Bengal in separation from Lord Chaitanya, showing compassion to others. Srila Prabhupada writes that the greatest service one can perform for the pleasure of the Lord is to show compassion to others. But to actually do that is a great sacrifice. Service is selfless. Lord Nityananda Prabhu left Puri, left Lord Chaitanya, left all those wonderful associates of Swarup Damodar Goswami, Ramananda Rai, to preach in Bengal, where he had to encounter all kinds of dacoits and thieves. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada, he was given that order. And he left Vrindavan. He left Seva Kunj at Radha Damodar Temple. Not just to go to Bengal, but to go across 2 seas, 3 continents, to reach New York City. Left Vrindavan. And he even wrote in his diary, I am feeling so far from Vrindavan and my beloved deities, Radha Govinda, Radha Damodar, Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Gopinath. But I am feeling glad because I am executing the order of my spiritual master. So we see from these two examples, and so many others, that to show compassion to others is often a great sacrifice. Krishna's Leela is Madhurya, and Lord Chaitanya's is Audarya Leela. The difference is very subtle. Krishna and Balaram, in their Vrindavan Leela, they were especially showing the ultimate compassion by exchanging love with their own devotees. And through their pastimes, for all time to come, to attract the conditioned souls' hearts back into their loving service. But really, we find in Krishna Balaram's pastimes, the loving exchanges are so much amongst the Brijavasis, or the Mathuravasis, or the Dwarkavasis. And as far as outsiders, it's mostly killing demons. But Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, they broke open the seal of love of God. Krishna and Balaram, their Leela was very much within the precincts of their purest, most ecstatic, loving devotees. But Gaur Nitai, they went out to the public of the conditioned souls in Kali Yuga and performed their Leela by giving entrance into Vrindavan. Through worshipping Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, and speaking about Krishna. An example of Lord Balaram's compassion. Krishna was in Dwarka. Long time had passed, many years, since he had left Vrindavan. From Mathura, on one occasion, he sent Uddhava to try to pacify them with some messages. And Uddhava promised he would try to get Krishna to return because he saw the plight of their separation. Actually, the Acharyas teach us that one of the principal reasons Krishna sent Uddhava to Vrindavan was to show Uddhava what real bhakti is about. Uddhava was the dearest friend of Krishna in Dwarka. Everyone in Dwarka recognized this, that he's associating with Krishna most confidentially, more than anyone else. But because he was so dear to Krishna, Krishna wanted to give him what was most dear to him. An understanding of what is Vrindavan. The residents of Vrindavan are suffering so much due to separation from me. To keep them alive, you go, Uddhava, and bring them my message. You can take my chariot. You can even wear some of my clothes, just so they know you are my bona fide representative. And they will hear you with great faith. Uddhav thought he was going on a mission of compassion. But what he found in Vrindavan was something he could never have expected. When he saw the condition of the Brajavasis, since Krishna left, practically none of them, they couldn't eat, they couldn't bathe, they couldn't perform their duties. They simply cried, absorbed in Krishna. What a state of samadhi. Some yogis can sit in their Himalayan retreats, still, without movement, without eating or sleeping, absorbed in the oneness of Brahman. But that is not even a drop from the ocean of absorption as the residents of Vrindavan, who were absorbed in Krishna. There was not even a moment in their lives in all these years that their mind could possibly be diverted for a second from remembering Krishna with love. Each one remembered his beautiful features, his lotus-like eyes, his complexion like a monsoon rain cloud, his nose which was soft like a sesame flower, and lips that were red like the bimba fruit, his cheeks and his forehead which were like illuminating full moons, his ears which had earrings that were shaped like sharks, Krishna's neck, it swirled with lines, with the grace of a conch shell. His palms and his feet were pinkish in color like a pink lotus flower. His teeth were like rows of pearls. His eyebrows were like bows, and his glances were like arrows that pierced the hearts of all of his devotees. His hair, shining black, as it curled around his beautiful, beautiful moon-like face. There was a small bejeweled crown on his hairs, and it was topped with a peacock feather, which was like a resplendent rainbow that illuminated all directions. His chest was wide, his waist was thin. His arms were so soft. And whoever they embraced, they melted around that devotee and melted their hearts. And when he stood in his threefold bending form of Tribhanga, he placed his flute to his lips. The ecstatic love of his heart would come through the medium of his breath into the holes of the flute and fill the entire atmosphere of Vrindavan. That song of the flute would enter through the ears and capture the hearts of all of his devotees. The gopis would abandon everything on the call of his flute. The cowherd boys would be thrilled with playful excitement at the song of his flute. The river Yamuna, which was flowing downstream, would come and start flowing upstream to where Krishna was standing, bringing lotus flowers to offer at his lotus feet. The calves who were suckling the milk from their mothers could no longer even drink. They would just be paralyzed. The only movement was tears pouring from their eyes. His name is Hari, which means he steals. And his stealing is at its culmination when he plays his flute and steals the hearts of all of his devotees. And he would wear long garlands called Vaijayanti, which were made of the wild flowers of the forests of Vrindavan. And he had beautiful ornaments, pearl ornaments, gold ornaments, silver ornaments, lovely ankle bells given to him by Mother Yashoda. The gopis and the gopas, 24 hours a day, they were seeing that form. They were hearing his flute. They were hearing his sweet, ambrosial words, his joking words, his words of play, his words of encouragement, his words of love. They echoed in the hearts of the Brijabasis again and again and again. And they constantly remembered his beautiful pastimes. His pastimes of killing all of the demons. Some of them they witnessed with their own eyes. Some of them they heard from others. But they were ever being reenacted within their hearts. This is samadhi. They didn't need a television set to watch the Krishna cartoon series. They didn't need to go to cinema house. They didn't need anything. It was all happening live in their hearts. It wasn't just a replay. Because of their love, Krishna in his bhava expansion, although he was long away in Dwarka, he was manifesting his darshan, speaking through them, playing his flute for them, and performing his pastimes for them, live, in person, within their hearts. And they were seeing that, tasting it, smelling it, hearing it, feeling it, with all of their spiritual senses. That is samadhi. The perfection of samadhi. Samadhi siddhir ishvara pranidanat. The great yogi Patanjali, he has taught the world and all of his students that the perfection of samadhi is to be absorbed in surrender to Ishvara, to the Supreme Lord. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana shadavam bhajatesam. Krishna tells in Gita, the conclusion of the chapter describing Astanga Yoga, that of all yogis, one who is absorbed in me with faith and devotion is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. This is the residents of Vrindavan. They're absorbed in Krishna. But by Krishna's own will, to increase the experience of their love to the highest states where they cannot forget him ever. The Brijabasis couldn't sleep, they were so absorbed in Krishna. And if they did sleep, they only dreamed of Krishna. Day and night. How did they live for so many years, sometimes without even eating or sleeping? Just nourished by Krishna, by the feelings of separation. Because in that mood of separation, although it appears to be the most blazing fire of pain, it's actually the deepest ocean of ecstasy. Because in that separation, the absorption and the intensity is greater. Lord Chaitanya taught that Krishna loved the residents of Vrindavan supremely. because they loved him supremely. Would he ever make them suffer? But why they had to suffer so many years weeping? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami tells that the moment Krishna left with Akrura for Mathura, the gopis cried for the rest of their lives. But in that apparent pain, there was the highest pleasure, because there was the deepest absorption. And Krishna accepts our hearts. The Brijabasis were offering the greatest extent of their love in their separation from Krishna, and Krishna knew all they wanted is unconditionally to offer their love. Krishna was actually satisfying all their desires. When Uddhava saw them in their state of love and separation, his realization, I have no love for Krishna. Nothing. Now some of us, we think, I love Krishna. I've been chanting for 10, 12, 15 years, maybe even 20 years, and I've been following the regulative principles, and I wear tilak every day, and I love Krishna. But when Uddhava saw what real love of Krishna is, his realization was, I have no love for Krishna.